For the retail, e-commerce, and advertising track, we're talking with Ashley Crowder, CEO and co-founder of VNTANA. They're presenting as part of Fashion's 3D journey from design to the metaverse. Let's get started. Ashley, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Awesome. Let's just get started. Can you tell us about who you are and what you do in the metaverse?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I'm the CEO and co-founder of VNTANA. We're a 3D commerce platform that makes it incredibly easy to go from design to sales and marketing. So it's a 3D content management system, upload designs, can instantly publish 3D and AR on e-commerce, social media, and game engines, aka the metaverse.
So, how often are you in the metaverse and what do you do?
I'm in there at least once a week, I'd say. I mean, it's all relative, right? So for me, my definition of the metaverse is it's the spatial internet, right? So we were going from this 2D plane to now we can actually have 3D models on e-commerce. You can have virtual spaces still just on my laptop or fully in headset. So, I'm in a headset probably once a week with my fun group, the XR Social Club. We meet in VR on Wednesday nights, which is really fun. But again, I'm working in 3D all day, every day. So
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's kind of funny how we have to sort of define our own version of the metaverse before we even have the rest of that conversation. You have a very compelling topic that you're bringing to AWE. We don't want to spoil that, but can you tell us maybe one big idea that you're hoping to share with the audience at AWE 22?
yeah, so at Ventana, we've worked with tons of fashion brands, Hugo Boss, Diesel, Deckers, VF Corp. And so I'll actually be speaking with one of our clients, VF Corp, about how they've really set up a scalable 3D workflow, which is so important. So, to do anything in the metaverse, you need digital twins, right? You need 3D models that meet certain specs so you can actually use them across various virtual worlds and platforms. And to date, a lot of people have done that in a very manual way, recreating 3D assets. Well, companies like VF Corp launch 100,000 products a year. Like there's no possible way to do this in a manual way. So you
Mhm.
have to set up things right the first time. So we're going to be going through, what are best practices to set up your 3D design and workflow to enable you to go from design to the metaverse quickly.
I can appreciate that so much. A lot of my work has been helping brands understand where the opportunities and cost in XR can be. And unless you're a brand that has thousands of digital assets or is really working in 3D and some other capability, I've often described how that pipeline can be one of the most challenging things to get right. I'm sure you'll have a packed audience. Is there anything that you're excited to learn about or experience for yourself in person at A22?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly one of my favorite conferences of the year. It's so great to just see, honestly, friends I've had in the space, have been working in the space for a decade, catch up on what they're building, from volumetric capture with something totally different we don't do to what are all the latest virtual worlds that people are building. There's the public ones like Decentraland and Somnium Space, but I think there's more and more companies cropping up building basically virtual storefronts for brands in the metaverse. I'm looking to connect with them because, we help do the 3D digital twins at scale, which can then populate those various stores. So, there's just so many different ways to find new partners at the conference.
Your website seems to suggest that interoperability of assets across platforms is really one of your strengths. Is that a message and a partnership opportunity that you're taking to the conference?
Yeah. So yeah, besides my talk with VF Corp, I'm also on a panel with the Kronos Group. So we're contributors to Kronos and, big proponents of pushing GLB and standardization for the whole industry because it's going to make it easier for adoption across the board. And so at Ventana, we've spent years building our patented optimization software so we can take existing files, convert, fix, optimize them so they can actually be used across, Meta, Facebook, and Instagram with our latest integration, e-commerce websites, and various game engine platforms. Because until things are easy, we're not going to see the adoption that we want.
With these conversations, we try to discuss topics without a lot of jargon or fluff. Could you talk just a little bit about what does it mean for Ventana to have an integration with something like Meta and Oculus? What does that mean for somebody who's building a storefront or looking to use 3D assets in their workflows?
Yeah, so we were really excited about this integration, to have a 3D model on Facebook or Instagram, and has to meet certain specs. So it has to be under 6 MB in size, has to be under 100,000 polygons, a few other specific requirements. Well, most people's manufacturing design files are 200 MB or larger, or 1 million polygons. You can upload that to Ventana. We automatically optimize it, and then with this integration, we also automatically create a 3D AR ad unit. So your designer could upload the designs, your social media person can log on, publish a 3D AR ad, totally automated. So your social media person can now actually publish 3D and AR. You don't need to know anything about 3D or code anything. So
Did I just hear programmatic, structured for multiple uses, optimized 3D content at scale is what you're
correct.
doing?
Yeah, we're trying to let people do 3D at scale, because that content creation process is really what has held back the whole industry, and we want to unlock that for people, and then can't wait to see all the amazing different virtual worlds they build with all the 3D content.
Yeah, you just gave me flashbacks to some of my past enterprise customers and like in roles in content strategy, right? One of the most complex, difficult parts is managing and accounting for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of like stacked SKUs and different like product associations. So being able to build that backbone and automation for 3D assets seems like amazing value for anybody pushing the dimensions of their content. Too
Right.
much fun.
Yeah, we like to say we're the 3D plumbing. we make that piece easy at scale, and then you can do all these amazing things with it. So
Into the speed round, do you have a metaverse avatar? And if so, what does it look like?
yeah, I mean, personally, my favorite world to meet up in is VR chat. So in there, I've got like wild, crazy, fun avatars. Like I've got like a cat that's like a rock punk like musician, and VR chat's just fun. It's wild and different, and I think that's what's really fun about the metaverse in general, is you can be anything. You don't need to look like yourself, right?
So our very last question is basically the opportunity to give a shout out or introduce us to somebody who's impacted your journey and understanding the metaverse.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I've talked about, XR Social Club. So shout out to Christina Heller, who started this group. She's the CEO of MetaStage that does volumetric capture, but she started this years ago, and it was just a way for a lot of us to get together and test out these new platforms. We started, it was like years ago. So half the time things wouldn't work. One time I think in rec room, I could only walk backwards. Like, it was just hilarious. And we were, we were testing out, the latest and greatest stuff when it came out. And it was just a really fun way to do it. So
Oh, that's super sweet. Thank you for sharing that. Is there any last notes or topics that we didn't get to?
for AWE, if you're excited to learn about fashion and how to build a scalable 3D workflow, I think my talk with VF Corp will be super interesting. And then if you are a developer and looking for standards, or even want to help contribute to standards, come to the talk with the Kronos team. We're always looking for people to join the organization and contribute, from startups all the way to, companies like Wayfair and NVIDIA are a part of it.
Thank you so much, Ashley. It's been fantastic having you. I can't wait to see you at AWE 2022.
Awesome. Thank you.